The biggest late model stock race of the year is just over a week away, and we wanted in on some of the fun. The Sim Auto Racing Association is in virtual Martinsville for 300 total laps of racing at the paperclip, and 46 drivers have signed up. Who makes the field? That's the question being answered tonight. We're going qualifying and heat racing next. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Ridgeway, Virginia. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Sim Auto Racing Association 1/8 Racing Media National Tour for the RJW21 Management Martinsville 300. Yes, it's a mouthful. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by presenting partner RJ21 Management, by 1/8 Racing Media, by SARA Next Gen Templates, and by Whiplash Simcams. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. And really in the sim, it's this afternoon because we're simulating what we'll see in a week's time at the real Martinsville Speedway for the Valley Star Credit Union 300. That means qualifying and heat racing in the afternoon, in the heat of the day, and then racing in the evening. Now, we're splitting things up just a little bit. We're going qualifying and heat racing today. Then in a week's time, we're going racing on September 26th. This is a different way to open the broadcast. Usually we go straight to track map, bing, bang, boom. No, we're going to look at the upcoming broadcast because you can see September the 26th, we're going racing for this official race. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to get the night going, though. Zach, let's talk about this racetrack. It is not a quarter mile. It is a half mile in length, 0.526 miles to be exact, a little under a kilometer, and it is tight.
That it is. Martinsville always brings out the best in drivers when it comes to their ability to really tackle short tracks, because this, Andrew, is one of the more unique short tracks. You know, you go to something like Bristol, it's all concrete. You go to, what are some other short tracks? Richmond, it's all asphalt. This is concrete and asphalt. There's concrete in the corners, asphalt on the outer part of the corners. There's a lot of complexity that comes into Martinsville, but with these late model stock cars, you want to get that car down to the bottom. I have rarely seen people be able to use the high side.
So what these drivers can do, we're going to be covering qualifying and then racing here very, very soon. We've got about 40 seconds left in practice, and we're going to get right down to practice times. Dante Curtis is fastest on the racetrack, currently in the pit lane. But Zach, looking throughout the field, we have got, let's see, now 35 cars within 1/3 of a second of each other, 34 cars within a quarter second, 32 cars within 2/10, and let's see, 17 cars within 1/10 of one another. Everybody here, aside from Noah Boucher, so 36 cars total, are within 1/2 second of each other. That's down all the way through Bob Belshaw in 36th position. Noah Boucher just a tick slower than a half second back of current fast time, which is Dante Curtis at a 19.665. That takes you through practice, and we'll get right into qualifying here. But first, let's take a look at point standings while everybody gets ready to go qualifying. It's going to be a 1-hour session with drivers going out one after another. Zach, Alex McCullum is your points leader. 5 wins now after Slinger last time out. Cole Cabry second, Ryan Kuhn third. That's all great and fine and dandy. But quite frankly, Alex McCullum is in a league of his own.
McCullum has absolutely dominated just about everything we've done this season so far. He's had a couple of hiccups in a couple of different races. You know, we thought he was going to be struggling not too long ago when we were doing the Oxford 250. He had a lot of problems. He got caught up in one of the wrecks, but surprisingly, he pulled through, and you can't count him out in any of these races. The man is just too good to be stopped. You've got to try to find your way to get past him and keep him behind you, because I don't think you're going to be able to do it for very long if he's got a leg up on the competition.
As you can see, you don't see graphics just yet. Anymore, I should say. We're having a couple of technical difficulties behind the scenes, but those will be ironed out here very shortly before we go qualifying this evening. And Zach, the way this is going to work is it's going to be single car qualifying, much like we used to see for the NASCAR Cup Series. Now, I don't know, and we're going to do this the old-fashioned way for a moment. I don't know that there's anybody on the racetrack at the moment. I believe they are working to get the first cars lined up, so we'll be in a bit of a lull here for a moment before we send cars trackside. We have got a huge field. 37 drivers, it looks like, have shown up, which means 7 are going home. A little bit under what we were expecting with 46 signups, but still such a strong short track field. This is one of the strongest events I think you'll see year-round for any short track racing on the iRacing.com sim.
That you will. I was absolutely shocked to see the amount of people that joined for this qualifying session and just how close they were. And it looks like we have a qualifying order. Working on trying to figure out what the qualifying order is, but looks like cars are starting to get lined up on the end of pit road.
So nobody on track just yet from what we can tell, and graphics are a click away pretty much. So give me one moment here, and we'll have graphics back up on screen. Gotta love when technical difficulties pop up, Zach. It happens sometimes. What I will say is these heat sessions tend to bring out some kind of issue with ATVO, but that's okay. We will move on as we can and continue on with this broadcast. I gotta say, by the way, a shout out to RJ Williams coming on board at this event in the first place, being the presenting partner this week and next week. The RJ Williams 21 Management Martinsville 300, or RJW21 Management Martinsville 300. Very cool to have RJ Williams on board for this event. Now we're still waiting on the first car to hit the track, and it looks like, well, we're going to be doing it a little bit the old-fashioned way, Zach. We're going to be guessing and checking for the most part, but it's going to be okay. 37 cars. I'm sure we'll get everybody on the track at some point.
I'm sure we will.
Well, we can talk about the schedule then. We do have some interesting news coming up with this schedule. Of course, you see Martinsville, the final race before we have that to-be-confirmed date in October. And Zach, I can tell you, we have confirmed where we're going racing in October. Would you like to know?
Where are we going?
Take a guess. Any guess? You've got short tracks all across the country. You've got from Irwindale to Oxford down to, I think it's somewhere, I don't know, Iowa. You've got short tracks all across this country on the iRacing.com sim. Oswego was just added. As one car is hitting the track, it's going to be Justin Crowe first on the racetrack. But take a guess as to where we're racing first, or next, rather.
You said Oswego, so now I'm tempted to say that, but I'm also tempted to go with a bigger short track. I'm going to go with Iowa.
It's not Iowa. It's not Oswego. It's not Oxford. It's not any of the tracks I mentioned. I'll tell you what. Because I like to have fun, we're going to take guesses all the way through this broadcast. And when we qualify every single car, once every car has made a run, I will spill the beans on where we're going. And if you're a driver and if Matt has announced it in the session, you're not allowed to comment. But here is Justin Crowe on his second qualifying lap, a 20.619. The first lap, a 19.815 on lap 2. And that will do it for driver 86. He comes to a stop there in turn 1. And we now send Chris Horton trackside.
Crowe ends his run with a 1981, so now we get to see Chris Horton on track. I'm seeing a lot of these guys not fully running along that white line, especially on their out lap. We see Horton running it now, and he doesn't come all the way up to the wall. It's one thing I've noticed with these drivers. They don't come all the way up to the wall.
A lot of marbles and stuff up there that you don't really want to get into unless you have to. Now, iRacing doesn't simulate those marbles being picked up on the tires, but there is still some nasty, dirty stuff up there that can break grip, and you'll just slow yourself down a little bit. But here's Chris Horton. Lap number 2, down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. This will be the money lap, the lap that counts, the lap of record for Chris Horton. And down the front stretch, let's see what it's going to be. A 19.755. So he moves into provisional pole.
One heck of a lap right there.
Cameron Hamilton now heading to the racetrack. It's car number 10, and this is the RJW21 Management Martinsville 300 presented by Taylor Hamilton Insurance. And you see Taylor Hamilton Insurance on the hood of this race car. Very cool to have another partner along board with this race and this broadcast. This is a really cool onboard shot. We haven't even covered weather conditions yet, Zach. Weather conditions in the sim, 77.3 degrees in the air, 103 on track. It's a little bit toasty, but that sometimes means speed as Cameron Hamilton puts down a 19.794 on lap 1. That's the best lap 1, but of course lap 2 is the lap of record for these guys.
That it is. Hamilton comes around the corner. He's going to hit the line right here, and that's just a hair faster, a 1976 for Cameron Hamilton, and that is going to be new quick time for that 10 car.
And it seems like one car was actually disqualified. Chris Horton, his time is not on the board anymore.
I wonder if he's getting another run potentially, or is he just completely disqualified? No, he's not.
My guess would be he tripped qualifying scrutiny.
That is possible. That would actually explain it a little bit, because I'm pretty sure I thought I was crazy right there, but Cameron Hamilton did go and hit a 1976, so I assume that he would have gone faster, but it didn't reflect on the time.
Well, Thronberg went straight to the racing line on lap 1, and that's going to be beneficial because lap 2 is a wash for the Chase Robertson Racing number 22 Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Thronberg going to go first so far at a 19.722. Now, what's throwing us for a little bit of a loop here tonight is, if you're familiar with iRacing, you'll know kind of how this works. In heat race sessions, drivers get separated into run groups, practice groups, run groups, and it carries into qualifying as well. So even in this open qualifying session, these drivers are in different groups, where when you have one group selected, you don't see the rest of the other cars. You'll see a handful, somewhere between like 5 to 7 cars. And there's these different groups throughout the field. You got to cycle through them and try to find which car is on track in which group. As here we go, shutting it down early is Jake Grout. His lap does not seem to count, so he's going to have to go heat racing. It was a 19.897 lap 1, and it doesn't seem to have counted for him. Still Langford next up, Zach, and let's hope that we get some of these shakes out of the way of what's going on with some of these lap times not counting. With Chris Horton, Jake Grout, I'm not sure why their laps didn't post, but for some reason they didn't.
Gonna have to sort them out, get those gremlins out of the glitches in the timing and scoring, but Steele Langford now off of turn number 4. He's going to rip it up to the wall, and that's going to post a 1972.4, just barely, by 1/1000th of a second. Does not get in front of Blake Throenberg, but it looks like he's still on another flyer. Langford's going to throw it into 3, take a wide arc, not really get it all the way down to the rumble strip, so he's going to come off turn number 4, back to the start-finish line, checkered flag in hand, and it's slower for Steele Langford.
Dante Curtis next up. Langford goes second of the 4 that have time so far. And here's the Circuit World 03. See Mason Houseman checking into the chat. Looks like maybe Blake M. I'm wondering who that might be, Blake M. But mentioning that there is a special rule for this event, Zach, and drivers have been notified that you cannot shift. If you are caught shifting in any session, I guess other than practice is probably allowed just because it's practice and how are you going to enforce that? But if you are caught shifting, as Dante Curtis goes fastest at a 19.706, he's going to shut it down. If you're caught shifting, you're disqualified. You're out of here.
So they're not allowed to shift at all. That is a really interesting... Huh. That's a really interesting rule.
You've got to keep it in fourth gear. So, you know, the NASCAR Cup Series has caught some flack lately for having, you know, for those cars being able to shift down in the corners from fourth down to third and back up to fourth on the straightaways. Well, we're not allowing that. In the Sim Auto Racing Association here at Martinsville, these drivers are required to keep it in fourth gear, which is very interesting and is definitely going to have an effect on this race. It's going to keep it a lot more realistic, though. I will say that, as Ashby is the first driver to dip into the 19.6s. 19.671. He's going to shut it down. You know, we started this session thinking lap 2 would be the lap of record, the money lap for these guys, but so far, lap 1 seems to be the faster lap for guys like Dante Curtis and Jeremy Ashby. Going to straight to the top of the board, they have got better lap times as... Uh-oh. That is a very damaged 72 car for Jonathan Smith.
What happened to that right front?
A lot of damage to Jonathan Smith's car. He posts a 20.025 lap 1. That's 7th quick of 7 drivers, so not helping him at all. I wonder if he knows he's got that damage. Probably not. As he slides through 3 and 4, this looks like it's going to be a slow lap again. A 20.276, so slower on lap 2. Jonathan Smith struggling a little bit here in qualifying. Going to have to come through the heats. And I want to be clear, actually, everybody has to come through the heats. We'll look at this Whiplash SimCam's race details. Single car qualifying, 4 25-lap heat races, top 7 advance from each. That's 28 cars plus 2 provisionals. Green flag laps will count only during these heat races this evening. 2 green-white checkers are available if needed. Open setup, no fast fixes. So pretty cut and dry and pretty well honoring the actual event format, as it's a 7-2-2, the second 7-2-2 of the night for Kyle Terzak. Terzak ties with Blake Thronberg, but has the edge, it looks like. And for lap 2, Zach, here he comes across the stripe. Let's see if he can go faster.
Yeah, sending it down into turn number 3. See where you can get here. It gets a little squirrely coming off of turn number 4, and that is going to be 79. He goes a little slower that time by, so he's going to hold third of the drivers that have qualified.
It looks like that will complete run group 1. So we will look around for the next group to hit the racetrack, and it looks like it'll be Brad Carpenter. The Carpenter looks to be the next car on the racetrack, potentially. At least, no, actually. It's going to be Cody Dempster. Already on the racetrack. So that snuck by us, Zach. And the Kia is going to work down to turn number 3. He was 6th quick, lap 1 at 19.75. Lap 2 is going to be, let's see, a 19, as it loads for us, a 19.863, slower on lap 2.
Seems like a lot of these drivers are really pulling some bangers, and look at Dempster. He's taking it all the way into the garage here at Martinsville.
Brad Carpenter now onto the speedway, learning a little bit about what happened to Chris Horton and Jake Grout. It seems like they got black flags for what, I don't know, but it sounds like Horton might have been speeding in the pit lane, which would prompt a black flag and disqualify his lap time. No mercy from the iRacing stewards, apparently. I mean, a little bit of speeding in the pit lane and his lap is gone.
What's mercy?
Yeah, apparently. Brad Carpenter, lap 1, a 19.849, a little under 2/10 off pace. So he will slot in at 9th and hope to go faster here on lap number 2.
Crossing the line now. It's a 93, so 91 actually, so a little bit slower. It's like I was saying, Andrew, lap 1 seems to be the lap that these guys are really starting to pull these times out on. I'm not sure what is going on. Usually it's lap 2 once you got those tires heated up and worked in. So this is turning into one heck of a qualifying session as everyone is a little bit more spread out than they were in practice.
We'll wait for the next car to become apparent as we don't know exactly who is on track just yet. This is the fun of it, though, Zach, learning exactly who's going to be on track next. We've got so many different cars here, and looks like it's going to be Josh Cottle in the 13 car. He's been fast this season. There he is in his Trans Am. Lap 1 was decently quick, 3rd place, 19.710. Lap 2, we'll see what it ends up being here for him. The Cottle chassis, number 13, posts a 19.737 on lap 2. Not going to move him up any higher, so he will stay 3rd quick. Not a bad lap, though. Fastest times in practice were 19.6s. I keep saying 17. 19.6s in practice, rather. So a 19.7 in qualifying is pretty stout.
That it is. Oh, it's impressive to see how these drivers are able to pick it up from practice to qualifying. And now we've got our next car on the racetrack. It is Cole Cabry, your 2nd place driver in the points right now. He's about 40 points behind Alex McCullum. It's going to take one heck of a run by Cole Cabry to start winning some races and close that points gap between himself and Alex McCullum. It looks like he's going to throw away lap 1 here. Come across the line at 2011, 2048. So throws away lap 1 to carry some big speed out of turn number 4. And you'll see that a lot, especially in the Martinsville 300 coming up next week here, that these drivers will sling it all the way
he had
to
a bobble.
Very much speed, yeah. Big bobble right there. Comes across the line.
Not bad.
72. That's going to be P4. And don't look now, Andrew, but it looks like these times are getting a lot closer from 3rd to about 10th. They're all separated by a 10th. And from 3rd all the way down really to about 8th, they're separated by 400ths.
Yeah, so Cabry slots it at 7th. Here's Grant Brown now on the racetrack at an unsponsored number 14 entry. Not used to seeing blank panels on the 14 car for Grant Brown, but that's what you've got this evening. As he flies down into turn number 3. And he's right to the bottom of the racetrack from the get-go, so lap 1 should be a banger. It's a 19.838 for Grant Brown on lap 1. That's a little over a 10th and a half back of pole time. He's going to go for lap number 2. And, oh, with a blink there on turn 4, let's see what it's going to be for Grant Brown. 19.797, so he picks up a little bit over Justin Crow. And next up, it's Bo Ledbetter. Haven't seen this name in a while. I used to run a couple of leagues where Bo Ledbetter ran, and boy, that is a beautiful car. Hello. I like that silver. That is really nice, but good to see Bo Ledbetter here in the Sim Auto Racing Association 1/8 National Tour, making his first start of the season. Or at least attempting to make his first start of the season, making his first appearance, we'll say.
What a better race to do. No better race, really, to do it. Coming off turn number 4 now to set his first flying lap. It's going to be a 20.48 as he crosses the line. So it's going to slot him in 14th at the moment. But lap 2, Andrew, that's where a lot of these drivers tend to shine. It seems like lap 1 is the lap of wonder for everybody, but Ledbetter is going to come through 3 and 4 now, bring it back to the start-finish line through the Geico restart zone. Checkered flag in the air, a 1980 for that 78. That's going to slot him into 11th at the moment.
Next up, Dylan Calabro hitting the racetrack. R71. YachtClubSoda.com on the side of that Chevrolet Camaro.
Coming through 1 and 2 now. He gets a little high up there out of 2, but brings it to the wall nicely and into 3 and 4 for his first lap. Definitely holding a pretty line as he brings it off of turn number 4, and it's going to be a 1983. Slot him in about 13th at the moment, but he's got another lap here, Andrew.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. He knows it. Right down to pit lane. So that'll be it for Dylan Calabro. His lap will come to an end early. He tagged the wall. He's going to have to settle for that 19.839, which will be good for 13th so far. As Dallas Pataska takes the racetrack. Haven't seen this name in a while. A lot of names making a return. Pataska, one of them with the curb records. Number 23, Chevrolet Camaro.
I don't know about you, Andrew, but I like the look of that car. I think maybe, just maybe, replace that red with some yellow. I'm pretty favorable to yellow.
I was just going to say, you liking a car that isn't black and yellow, and, well, there you go.
1978 for the 23. That is going to slot Pataska into P10 on the starting grid at the moment for the heat races, but he's going to come down the back straightaway into turn 3. Big arc. Doesn't hit the rumble strips, and he comes through 3 and 4 for his second flying lap. Little faster right there, 77. That's going to bump him up to P9.
Not a bad lap there, as it looks like Aaron Harden will be the next driver on the racetrack. Haven't seen this name before, but good to see the Aftershock 85 hitting the racetrack. Aaron Harden, perhaps one of the drivers that runs on Wednesdays when late model stocks are in action. Usually it's the Super Series on Thursday nights, and that's what we tend to cover. The Contender Series, though, on Wednesdays features late model stock cars, and perhaps that's where Aaron Harden hails from, as Harden will put down a time good enough for 11th lap 1. It's a 19.785, that first lap around. Lap 2, though, for the Ryko Performance Aftershock Speed Shop, it looks like. Entry here, lap 2, a 19.813. So a little bit slower, Zach, but he will stay 11th place so far.
That he will. And as we got our next car heading right onto the racetrack, and that's Josh Parrish in that 55 car. He's going to run it high and pretty through 3 and 4, cuts it right down to carry as much speed as possible. And he's going to take it to the start-finish line and take the green flag for his first of 2 laps.
Listening on board of Parrish, it's a 19.789, lap 1. That's good for 12th. And lap number 2 for Josh Parrish. It's going to be a 19.768. He's just going to pick up a little bit, but stay down around the 10th position. He'll go 9th. Next car to hit the racetrack. Let's see, who do we have? We've qualified about half the field now, as it looks like Keith Jeffrey will be next on the racetrack in the 88 car. Shop talk on the hood and side of that KJ88. Really like the chrome on this car. That is a really nice paint scheme. And the Nitro Circus Chevrolet Camaro across the line. It's a 19.846. 845, actually. It adjusts a little bit. And yeah, that lap is not at all what he's going to want.
Sliding a little bit more, coming through 3 and 4. Brings it to the line. Just a hair slower. Not going to be much of a gain there for Keith Jeffrey. And that's going to keep him slotted in where he was before he took the green flag.
Trevor Edwards, also from the shop, next up with the Moe's Mobile Detailing Cadillac. on the racetrack. Lap 1 going to begin there. Trevor Edwards, a main fixture in the Sim Auto Racing Association, right around the top 5 in points. In fact, coming into this event, he sits in the 5th position, 121 back. We've got a poll up on YouTube asking where you think the next race of the 1/8 Racing Media National Tour might be. I've narrowed it down to 4 options for you, as Trevor Edwards will receive a black flag for some reason, and his lap will not count. Unbelievable.
He was quite frustrated about it. He got a speeding penalty leaving pit road.
Oh my gosh. Gotta be careful on pit exit. Search for the next car to hit the racetrack here, as that poll is now up, and the 4 options that are out there for you are the Bullring, Southern National, Myrtle Beach, and Stafford. So 4 options for you to vote from and choose as the track that you think we'll be racing at next. Do you have a pick there, Zach?
Oh, I picked Myrtle Beach.
Really?
Yep. You gotta admit, Myrtle Beach has got some of the best racing. And the fact that it's been torn down, it's such a shame.
I see Stafford getting a vote. I see Myrtle Beach getting some. I see the Bullring, Southern National, all getting some votes as we await the next car to hit the racetrack. It looks like nobody is on just yet, as now we get one hitting the racetrack. Who was that? Well. Oh, I think it was Edwards requalifying, actually. It was Edwards requalifying, so he'll go 19th. So 19th there for Trevor Edwards. He will sink down towards the bottom, and we'll see now who goes on track next. There's a lot of drivers left to go. Ryan Kuhn, one of them. Devin Rogers, Stephen Hassett, Alex McCullum, Spencer Dickinson, Chase Pierce, Nim Cross, Joel Smith, Chase Robertson, Kyle Meyer, and it looks like to be Stephen Hassett in the 3 car next on the racetrack in the 18th spot on lap 1. If you're going to run the number 3, you've got to run that number 3, I feel like, just to pay homage to Dale Earnhardt. And Stephen Hassett will do just that. Lap 2, though, a 19.976. A bit of a disappointing qualifying effort. 18th position so far, and that's going to drop, I'd imagine, a little bit. Next car on the racetrack, though, Devin Rogers, car 25. Boy, that's a cool paint scheme.
That it is. Man, I like that. And honestly, for obvious reasons. Yellow and black. Anybody?
I'm trying to recall what show that is. There's a memory unlocked in my brain, and I can't figure it out. That's a Nickelodeon cartoon from years back, and I can't figure it out. It's a 19.886 for Devin Rogers. 21st quick, and that's a slide. He's going to have to settle. Oh, man. Rocket Power, is that the show?
Maybe?
That's one of the shows that, like, I saw as a kid on Nickelodeon. I never put it on. It ended up on the TV every once in a while. But it's nostalgic nonetheless. It just takes me back to a bygone era of Nickelodeon and whatnot. Yeah, Rocket Power, it sounds like. Fair enough. I knew I recognized it. I just didn't know exactly where from, as Jacob Hayes hits the racetrack in car number 1. And let's talk about that poll, guys. I see some Thanksgiving Classic ideas. That's why Southern National is on the list, of course. Jacob Hayes, lap 1, an 8.86. That's going to tie with Devin Rogers and put him 21st. I wonder now, Zach, has the track slowed down?
It might have. One thing that has been talked about a lot is wind conditions can really have a big effect on your qualifying time. And right now the wind is south at 2 miles an hour. And in the next 10 to 15 minutes, it's going to switch to southwest at 2 miles an hour. We've heard a lot of these guys before talk about how even just a small change in the wind direction or even just a small change in the track condition can really affect how these guys run their qualifying laps. And I think it definitely shows in certain regards as Joel Smith takes the green flag for his first lap. This is the bottom just a little bit, but a lot of these guys have been doing it to carry a lot more speed through the corner, so not too bad out of the 24 EPI race car driver. And, well, he's going to run a really high line, throw away lap 1 there, just like Cole Cabry did.
The lap 1 at 20.357, lordy. That is 24th quick. Of course, that is a throwaway for Joel. We'll see what he can do here on lap number 2 for the 1-8 Coffee Company Chevrolet Camaro. Out of turn number 4. And out of the start-finish line, it's going to be a 19.708.
Wow, that's P3 for Joel Smith. That's going to put him... Wow, that's going to put him first for heat number 3, should he hold on to it.
So the track has still got some speed. Clearly, if he just went up there and put down a third-place lap time right behind Dante Curtis by 2 1/1000ths of a second, as it looks like one car has taken the racetrack looking to find out exactly who.
Heard Alex McCullum was in the pit lane ready to go out, so maybe he's on track.
It is Alex McCullum. Points leader on the racetrack. This is an important qualifying run to see where he's going to begin his heat race. Everybody's got to go through the heats. Everybody's got to race into this race. McCullum, pole time! Wow, a 19.668. Just when we thought the track was slowing down, you only get a flash of Alex McCullum on the screen because he goes straight to the top of the board, shuts it down on lap 2, and he takes pole by 3 1/1000ths of a second over Jeremy Ashby. The 1 and the 0-1 are your provisional front row.
What a lap by Alex McCullum. Shuts it down immediately. Goes quicker by just over 100ths of a second. Bumps Joel Smith down to P4. Still puts him on pole for heat number 4, as the rest of these drivers are currently trying to figure out where they may be starting and what heat they might be in. I know from firsthand experience that when it comes to qualifying, as Jake Grout is on track right now, checkered flag in hand, 1984 for the driver of the 49.
So a backup lap there for Grout will put him 19th so far. A backup lap now for Chris Horton in the Aftershock, number 42. Got somewhere around 10 cars left to qualify. I think about 12 actually. So a little bit of time left for this vote. When qualifying is done, when all cars have run a lap time, the vote is going to come down and I'll reveal where we're going next for race 11. There's still time to vote and have some discussion as Chris Horton puts down a 7.30. That's not bad. That's 10th.
Pretty good for the 42. Getting that lap.
Oh, but that's going to be... Oh, you got to be careful, pit lane. That might be a black flag there. Maybe not. He cut through just under the cone.
If he didn't hit the yellow line, he should be okay.
I don't know, but here goes Matt Rolfe onto the racetrack. The SARA Next Gen Templates, number 0. The number nothing. Begins lap number 1. Will come around at a turn number 4 and complete his first lap on the racetrack.
Hey, 0's a number.
Yeah, number nothing. And whoa, 9th quick for Matt Rolfe. He's going to shut it down. He's going to take it. I think he'll be happy with that qualifying effort. That's a pretty solid lap.
I think one thing I didn't expect to see, Cole Cabry has dropped down the running order quite a bit. He's all the way down to the 10th spot. And a 1972 is nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, Matt Rolfe tied the lap between himself and Cole Cabry, but it gives it to Rolfe because if we probably go past thousandths, more than likely he had the quicker time.
Well, here's Tyler Mueller on the racetrack as Cabry drops down a bit. I think a surprise for me has to be Trevor Edwards down in 26th at the moment, as Mueller will bump him down to 27th. It's a 19.743. That's good for 12th for Mueller, and Misfit Productions will be happy with that for sure. One of their own, going pretty quick here in qualifying. That's 12th fastest so far, and looks like he'll be starting somewhere around the 3rd position for his heat race at the moment. I'm sure that's going to change a little bit. But here goes John Owlett onto the racetrack from Team 53. A very purple race car.
That is very, very purple for John Owlett as he goes down into turn number 1. Down the back straightaway he goes, and he's looking pretty good, Andrew, going down into 3. He's got a solid line here, not too much movement out of the car on entry. Very stable as he brings it to the line. 79 for John Owlett.
That's 18th quick so far, just ahead of Grant Brown and right behind Aaron Harden. Out of turn number 4, he'll go down the front stretch and wrap up lap number 2. It'll be a little bit slower. A 19.868 for John Owlett. That'll bring Bob Belshaw to the racetrack in the black and gold 44 from Team 53. So teammates, one after another right here. So Zach, is there a reason that you chose Myrtle Beach in your vote?
Yeah, because I love Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach has got some of the greatest racing before it was torn down. It was an absolutely stellar track, and unfortunately it followed the trends that have been going on lately of racetracks being sold off for real estate. They seem to be on a hot bit of property lately for tracks like Myrtle Beach Auto Club, as Belshaw goes in 1993 on the racetrack. And you know, I would be surprised to see these guys not go to Myrtle Beach. It's a fan favorite as well. It's not just me who likes the track. There's a lot of drivers out there that love that racetrack. Not to mention, a long time ago when Pit Stop TV covered the Cars eSport Tour, that was one of my better races that we had on the sim.
Belshaw goes 30th quick so far, and that'll be a bit of a disappointing run, I think. Some work to do in the heat race. Kyle Meyer then next up from the shop in Moe's Mobile Detailing. Some good points there on Myrtle Beach. The Bull Ring, though, is leading the vote. I wonder why. I guess, you know, I have to imagine the reason that the Bull Ring is leading is maybe because it is out there on the West Coast. And this would be the one trip, if we went to the Bull Ring, if we are going to the Bull Ring, it'd be the one trip out to the West Coast for this 1/8 Racing Media National Tour, as Kyle Meyer puts down a heater, a 7.45. That's good for 13th. And at this point, whoa, as that'll be a scuff lap 2. At this point, 13th is pretty solid in a field this close. That is a pretty solid lap time.
Remember, Andrew, we've still got heat races for these guys, so they have a chance to improve their position. But there's going to be at least 16 cars going home tonight as Nim Cross takes the green flag for his first flying lap, and big slide into the first corner, gets it down to the apex. That was one heck of a slide out of the 0-7, and taking another big slide going into turn number 3. This might not be the lap he wants to see.
Just a bit of healthy yaw in the car. That's okay. But here goes lap number 2 for him. It's an 8.38 lap 1. Not bad. 23rd. Wanting a little bit of extra oomph, though, on lap number 2. Let's see what he can do. Right around the bottom. That looked better.
Turn number 4, off he is, and checkered flag in hand. Slower.
Just by a bit.
It didn't look too good for me off of turn number 4 there, Andrew. I figured it was going to be a little slower, but Spencer Dickinson on the racetrack, and, well, that's one interesting paint scheme. He is him, apparently, with that big old sponsor on the front hood of that car.
One of the more unique paint schemes for sure, and, well, hopefully he's got a good one in store for us in a week's time. But Spencer Dickinson on the racetrack. Only a handful of cars left to go. In fact, 6 left to go. RJ Williams, Ryan Kuhn, Spencer Dickinson, who's on track now. Then Chase Pierce, Chase Robertson, and Noah Boucher. It's an 8.20 for Dickinson, lap 1. A little bit off. That is 23rd quick. Not bad, though. That's right where Nim Cross put the car. It was 23rd at first, so it's not bad. That's in the show for the time being. But wanting a little more here on lap 2. Let's see what he can do. It's an 8.08. That'll pick up just a little bit, and it'll be good for 21st.
Not a terrible lap.
Chase Robertson in the 31 car on track. Got kind of a pearlescent metallic look to that Kyle Larson lookalike. iRacing recently updated the spec maps here on the sim, and the spec maps basically determine what kind of material the paint scheme looks like, the wrap. So metallic, matte, gloss, that kind of thing. And it has really brought alive some of these paint schemes. I really enjoy what's going on here for Chase Robertson. It's a 7.26. Hello. That's a pretty solid lap time. That's good for 9th. That bumps Matt Rolfe down to 10th.
Yeah, that bumps Cole Cabry out of the top 10 as well. So let's see what Robertson has here on lap number 2. That shop car is looking mighty fine through turn number 4. Running just fine. Bring it to the finish line, and that is going to be a little quicker there. 71.8. For Robertson, that puts him P6, and that should slot him in for position number 2 in heat number 2. Yes. No. Yes. Doing my math right.
And here
Chase
goes
Pierce on track.
Yes, the Top Hat Comics Ford Mustang.
Interesting enough, Top Hat Comics, the sponsor on that car, they have sim rigs at their establishment that Chase Pierce goes and races, and he competes in local tournaments that they have there. So nice to see that on the car. And the only reason I know that is because he posts about it on his Snapchat story.
Well, that's pretty darn cool. Unfortunately, lap 1 leaving a little bit to be desired. Lap 1 is going to be 25th quick. A 19.821 on lap 1. Lap 2, though, better. A 7.36. That's going to be good for about the 13th spot.
That's a solid lap from Chase Pierce out of the EPI camp. That was a one heck of a run.
Rather caudal chassis. Do you see it there on the quarter panel?
Oh, that's interesting.
But if it's changed there.
He was an EPI driver. Well, that's news to me.
Caudal chassis, brand new to the scene, and I like what they've got going on for themselves, as it looks like Noah Boucher may be next to the racetrack, and sure enough, that's going to leave RJ Williams and Ryan Kuhn. Just 2 cars left to go here after Noah Boucher in this hour-long qualifying session, so it's going to be round about 48 minutes in total. On board with Noah. Lap 1 underway.
Love this camera angle. You can see all the good stuff inside of a late model stock car. As you cross the start-finish line, it's going to be a 20.36. Oh my.
That is slowest.
Quite off the pace.
Looking for more here on lap 2, though. Should be able to improve. He's got 0.3 to the next car. That was a sour lap 1. Lap 2, much better. A 20.001. Still a little bit off, but it's going to bump him ahead of Jonathan Smith and into position number 36. As here we go. Ryan Kuhn will hit the racetrack. That leaves just RJ Williams in the pit lane. 39 cars in all. And we'll be sending 9 home. We'll be sending 28 through by the heat races, then 2 provisionals. As Kuhn brings it right to the bottom of the racetrack, lap 1.
Down the back straightaway he goes. Ryan Kuhn is known for his qualifying times. He always shows up and shows out when he's qualifying these race cars. And across the start-finish line, it's going to be a 1975 for Ryan Kuhn for lap number 1. That should slot him in right around.
He's going to shut it down.
Oh.
17th quick for Ryan Kuhn. That is not where he wants to be.
Not what I expected to see.
I believe RJ Williams, the final car to hit the racetrack. He's going to shut it down. Must have got a speeding out of the pit lane penalty. Unfortunate. He's going to give it a shot. Another shot.
He didn't take the flag, so he's still able to put himself in a spot that he can run these laps. And looks like he's going to take a playbook just from everybody else. He's going to take a play out of the playbook like everybody else. He's going to cut it down in turn 3 and 4. Across the start finish line we go. Green flag for RJ Williams, the last car to qualify into 1 and 2. He's looking pretty good coming off of turn number 2. Keeps it off the wall. Into 3 and 4 he goes. He's throwing it away, Andrew.
And RJ is the presenting partner of this week's race. RJ Williams, lap 1 at 20.413. That's slowest. He threw it away, though, in turn 3. Let's see what he's got here on lap number 2. Looking for a whole lot more time than he had on lap 1. Down into turns 3 and 4 and right around the curbing to the start-finish line for RJ Williams. Let's see what he's got. It's a 20.01 rather. Leaving a little bit to be desired. That's right for 38th. So he moves up 1 spot. And that will do it for qualifying. You know what that means, Zach?
What?
That means, well, yes, that means I'm going to tell you where we're racing next.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see if I'm right or not.
Well, we're going to end the poll over on YouTube. The Bull Ring was the winner of where everybody thinks we're going to be racing, and I can tell you it's not the Bull Ring. In fact, we will be racing next as Alex McCullum takes pole time. In fact, I want to actually mention this. Alex McCullum, Jeremy Ashby, Dante Curtis, and Joel Smith, the Fast Four qualifiers, that'll be leading the heat races to the green flag here in just a handful of moments. But next up for us on this long list of 12 races throughout the course of the 2024 calendar year, drum roll, please. Imagine we had a drum roll. I don't have the soundboard ready to go. We are headed to Myrtle Beach.
I was right. Let's go.
Myrtle Beach next up for race number 11. It'll be modeled after the South Carolina 400 that used to be run at Myrtle Beach and then moved over to Florence Motor Speedway in Florence, South Carolina. We will be, well, the league will be releasing some details. I was told I could announce this, but this is still brand new information. I was told I could announce this, but we don't have, in fact, we'll have the updated graphic next week. But we're headed to Myrtle Beach for race number 11, and it will be in about mid-October. So keep your eye out for all of that. Myrtle Beach added to the schedule here in that to-be-confirmed date. It's been there all year long. I'm glad we're finally going to know where we're going, but it'll be for the South Carolina 400 modeled event. Now, Heat 1 is going to hit the racetrack. We're going to have 10 cars here for this first heat, then every subsequent heat should have 9. And let's go down trackside, Zach, and meet our starting grid on pole. How about Alex McCullum, fastest qualifier this evening? He's going to start from first. Josh Cottle from second place. Starting third, it'll be none other than Steele Lankford in the 33. Chase Pierce will roll off in a really solid starting spot from the 4th position. Starting 5th, though, to complete your top half of the field, Zach, it's Ryan Kuhn.
Rolling through the back half of the field, 7th and 8th. Or, excuse me, Aaron Harden's going to be starting 6th. And then rolling through the rest of the field now, Bo Ledbetter and Jake Grout in the 7th and the 8th starting positions. And then 9th and 10th, Jacob Hayes and Noah Boucher. That's going to be row number 5 on the night, Andrew, as these cars are all getting gridded up, ready to go racing. We've got 9 cars on the racetrack right now, waiting on car number 10. And I think we're going to be in for one heck of a heat race.
One more time, the Whiplash SimCam's race details, bottom right of your screen. Single car qualifying, that just completed. That means we're going racing for our first of 4 25-lap heat races, where the top 7 will each advance. We'll be watching that 7th place transfer spot vehemently. Green flag laps only. 2 green-white checkers. Open setup, no fast fixes. And again, very closely watching that top 7 cutoff, as it looks like Noah Boucher will not make the grid. Bo Ledbetter will start from the final position that is in the race right now, Zach. He's only got to defend over 2 cars, but they are Jake Grout and Jacob Hayes, and that will not be easy.
No, it will not. It's going to be one heck of a run here for these guys. The lights are out atop the iRacing pace car. Well, lights are out, but they're still rolling.
Yeah, traditionally, iRacing will give you 2 laps on any track under a mile, but the pace car lights will stay extinguished from the drop, from the roll off the grid. I think that's just procedural differences, but we should go racing this next time by. I want to take a look at the weather conditions for this heat race. 99-degree track temp, as the air temp has come up about half a degree. The track temp comes down about 4 degrees, so not too bad. 99 degrees, not too warm, not too cool, that's for sure. Just a little bit cooler than it was in qualifying. As here we go, Alex McCullum is going to lead us down into the Geico restart zone and out of turn number 4 to the first green flag of the night. We are green in the first heat race from Martinsville. Lap 1 complete. Alex McCullum leads the way. Josh Cottle second place. Steele Langford and Chase Pierce the rest of the top 4. Bo Ledbetter losing that 7th spot early. He loses it to Jake Grout, who moves up into a position to move into the race. Ryan Kuhn now to the inside of Chase Pierce. That's for 4th.
Side by side, Kuhn's going to get on by, and Chase Pierce is going to get left to hang and dry on that top side. Now side by side with Jake Grout. They're still going to stay side by side, going through 3 and 4. Ledbetter waiting in the way and seeing if he can get that car in there. Pierce with a bit of a run. He's got the nose into 1, but still can't do anything on that outside line.
Jacob Hayes has dropped out of the race for now. He drops to 8th position, so out of a transfer. Chase Pierce is headed the wrong direction. He is on the outside lane and moving back quickly, losing positions on this conveyor belt. Finally finds a spot in line in 7th, the final transfer.
Now he's going to try to make a move inside of Ledbetter to get some defense on that transfer spot. Ledbetter hits the wall. That's going to give Pierce a run going into the corner. Now Ledbetter is going to try to slot in line, but he's not going to be able to as Hayes pokes that car in there. Now they're side by side for the transfer spot, and Hayes is going to easily clear. Hardin's going to go on by. That 78 car drops all the way to the back.
So Ledbetter to the rear. Jacob Hayes now in the race. And Chase Pierce just tags the outside wall there off of turn number 4. These guys at the front, they're able to race calmly right now. They're able to relax. They know they've got some room right now to the back end of the field, and the drivers who are looking for that transfer spot. Jacob Hayes, though, would like to get himself a bit of a cushion, would like to get by Chase Pierce. Can't do it just yet.
I say if you're in the transfer spot, take it easy. The cars behind you seem to be falling back. I think you're in a good spot. You may be starting towards the rear of the race, but hey, you're in the race right now. Take it easy. Let the race come to you. If you start seeing objects in the mirror being closer than they appear, then you might want to start putting that pedal down.
That's easy for you to say. I mean, fair enough. I think that's a very valid point, but I understand in the driver's seat, that's going to be a little bit of a different story. You've got all that pressure on you to make this race, and knowing that you're in the final transfer spot, you're just going to want to move higher. It's the race driver mentality, I suppose, as Jacob Hayes works from the 7th position. We did have 10 cars that were eligible for this race. Noah Boucher did not start. So Heat 1 is just clicking off and away rather quickly. There is a little battle, though, sprouting between Jake Grout and Chase Pierce right up here for 5th.
It is Pierce trying to go back forward. He's remaining very patient right now as we're nearing about the halfway mark in this race. Should be halfway next time by as they come off of turn number 4. Pierce just waiting in the wind, seeing if he can find a way to have Grout make a mistake that he can poke that nose in there. And I say it, Grout gets a little loose coming off of turn number 2. It looks like they both chased it up the racetrack right there, so no gains from either driver. Ooh, tap to the wall right there.
Good to have Scott Lagacy Jr. watching along on Twitch. Thanks for being here. As we hit cross flags here in heat number 1. Oh, Jake Grout popping the curb on the inside. That opens the door now for Chase Pierce. Here he comes on through. And Pierce will move on by for 5th for now, just kind of shouldering the 49 up the racetrack a little bit. And that's going to open the door for Jacob Hayes to try and walk through. And he will.
This is going to be defense as much as you can for Jake Grout. You got 10 laps to go coming to the start-finish line. He's going to try to slot in right here, but he's not going to be able to.
Oh, yes, he is. Wow, he's going to, crashing right behind. That was a big hit for Bo Ledbetter, who gets into Jake Grout. He's going to continue on, though. I don't know how. That's a lot of damage. He was all up in the door of that 49 car as Jake Grout got absolutely bodied out of the way and moved out of a transfer position.
Got to pick up 2 spots, get that transfer spot back.
He's got to get back to Ledbetter. Ledbetter and Harden battle now for that transfer position. That was clutch from Hayes, but that's not going to earn you any respect on the racetrack. That's only going to earn you the ire of the drivers around you, and certainly Jake Grout, who will not be happy about that at all. And we've seen in recent years, Andrew Grady, for example, at the Real Valley Star Credit Union 300, we've seen in recent years there have been fists thrown over these heat races. They mean a lot to these drivers, even here in the virtual world. Granted, they can't throw fists here in iRacing as, Harden smacks the wall off of the corner. They can't throw fists here on iRacing, Zach, but if they could, they would.
Across the line. 6 laps to go. Harden the first one out. Ledbetter the first one in. The fight for this transfer spot still heating up. Look at Ledbetter though. He's got some major damage on that right front after the contact between himself and Grout. And the one thing that's different about this race, Andrew, there's no LCQs. It's make it in through the heater, you're done. So I don't think these guys want to be waiting and in the suspense of, am I going to make it or not? Do I have to worry about an LCQ? No, they got to go through the heat. It's the only way that they make it into the race.
That's right. You've got to transfer through the heat, otherwise you are done. You are out of here, and for Aaron Harden and Jake Grout, it's looking bad. It'll be 3 laps to go this time by. Meanwhile, I want to mention Alex McCullum leads the show up ahead. He continues to lead over Josh Cottle and Steele Langford, who fight for 2nd place. 4th is Ryan Kuhn. He's got some space. 5th is Chase Pierce. 6th is Jacob Hayes. 7th is Bo Ledbetter. And 8th and 9th, we've talked about them, Aaron Harden and Jake Grout. 2 laps to go.
think it's all but secured right now for Ledbetter to have that transfer spot. There's no contest behind as they come around to the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. McCullum still with a major lead over second place. And we look on for that transfer spot. I think Ledbetter's got it all but secured.
Now to turn 3. Alex McCullum is going to win heat race number 1 on the evening. And it's going to be none other than Bo Ledbetter taking the final transfer spot. He will stay in the race. McCullum, though, with the heat race win, will start from pole in a week's time at Martinsville. Heat number 2 then, going to head to the racetrack. Jeremy Ashby going to lead us to the green flag. Chase Robertson from second. Starting third, it'll be Matt Rolfe. Fourth will be Tyler Mueller. Fifth will be Josh Parrish.
Sixth is going to be John Owlett. He's going to be rolling to the top side of Josh Parrish in row number 3. And down through into row number 4, it's going to be Justin Crow and Keith Jeffrey in the 7th and the 8th spot. And then rounding out your 10-car field for heat number 2, Trevor Edwards and RJ Williams.
I mentioned earlier it would be a 10-car heat 1, then 9 thereafter. No, it'll be 10 cars for 3 heats, and then a 9-car heat there in heat number 4. And it would have been 10 cars in heat 1 if Boucher had run, but he elected not to, as it looks like the field is going to go and roll off the grid here potentially without RJ Williams. Is he going to grid up? No.
He is not.
Unfortunate. The presenting partner, the RJ21 Management Martinsville 300. And, oh, wow. Hello.
Starting.
Chase Robertson going to go to the rear.
Oh? Looks like RJ Williams is going to start that car from the pit lane. So interesting turn of events here in heat number 2.
Yeah, a lot going on, as RJ Williams must have just missed the call to the grid. So he'll have to start this race from the pit lane. He's going to need a caution or he is out of the RJ Williams 21 Management Martinsville 300. He's going to need a caution.
Oh man, this is some tight stuff here in heat number 2. Lights are out atop the iRacing pace car. See, Robertson has tagged the field on the inside line. The first 7 cars are who you're looking at to transfer in, Andrew. Here we go for heat number 2.
For heat number 2 from the Martinsville Speedway out of turn number 4. It's the RJ Williams 21 Management Martinsville 300, and heat 2 is green. Couple of cars grab the wall down the back straightaway into turn number 3 for the first time. Matt Rolfe in third. He's going to slot in right behind Tyler Mueller, who takes over the second spot. Chase Robertson all the way down to the back after qualifying second. A big problem for him. He's got a lot of work to do, but this is all going to put Trevor Edwards in the show provisionally as they run.
RJ Williams just came off the pit lane not too long ago. He's rolling out of turn number 2. While
whoa, John Owlett gets turned. Chase Robertson around. There's the caution that RJ Williams oh so badly needed.
And it's
oh no! Oh my gosh! Oh, wow.
Talk about a moment.
I saw that all playing out in my mind. I saw the crash happen in my mind. I'm glad it didn't happen. Chase Robertson, RJ Williams trying to get righted. And Williams, it looks like it's going to lose a lap out of it.
Oh boy, that scared me. And you're right, RJ Williams, 1 lap down at the moment. He didn't get any incident points, so he might be able to get his lap back.
There you see the back end of the crash that happened to bring out this first caution of the night.
Keith Jeffrey apparently has a black flag at the moment as well.
Let's see what happens here. So John Owlett, that purple car, gets tagged around by Keith Jeffrey. Owlett tags the 31 of Robertson. Robertson then backs up into Keith Jeffrey and damages the 88 car just a little bit. On board with Jeffrey out of the northwest. Owlett just checked up on his nose, nowhere to go.
Oh, there's the contact there. It looks like Keith Jeffrey is going to have his black flag taken care of by race control. So no penalties for that 88 car as he rolls out of the pit lane after getting that car fixed up. And I believe they are getting situated. The situation with RJ Williams. They told him to come on up, but he's not going by the pace car, so I don't particularly know what's happening with our presenting partner for the night. But he sits third in line out of the drivers idling behind the pace car.
Want to give a big nod to all the partners here with the Sim Auto Racing Association, 1-8 Coffee Company, Pedley's Garage, Here's Fleet Service, Race One Wraps, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, Sim Wrap Market, Sousa Media, Studio 10 Wraps, Toxic Media Solutions, and of course, Boyd's Automotive, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, DriverTees.com, Fast AF Designs, Hyde's Pride Leather and Sheepskin, International Short Track Association, Jeff Byte Jr. Art, Justin Brooks Designs, and Matthews Designs. A nod as well to the partners here with Pitstop TV, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design as we work a CC's caution here. It looks like we'll double up and go back racing this time by.
Like RJ Williams is going to get thrown to the back here. Did not get his lap back, and he desperately needs it if he wants to stay in this race. Keith Jeffrey's going to tag the tail end of the field as well. Pace car's off, Andrew. Back into the Geico restart zone.
We'll give this thing another try. Through turn 4 and out onto the front straightaway into the Geico restart zone. We are back. Green flag racing at Martinsville. A disjointed start from about third on back. Matt Rolfe way down to the inside. Parrish on the outside who tags the wall. Justin Crow in 5th. Chase Robertson down to the inside. He's going to hang on to 6th. John Owlett currently in the final transfer.
Keith Jeffrey fighting with RJ Williams towards the back there. Williams still a lap down. It's Robertson looking on to see if he can pick up anything. Back there behind, Trevor Edwards. He's trying to put himself in for the provisional transfer spot. They're side by side as it's a 4-car fight up in front of them. Rolfe leading the way. Parrish, Crow, and Robertson all looking onward to see if they can advance any further in their starting positions for the race, so long as they hold on to their transfer spots.
Transfer spot battle. Trevor Edwards to the inside of John Owlett. RJ Williams is there, but he's a lap down. Jeremy Ashby goes fastest in car 01. See the damage there on the left front of John Owlett's machine. He's that purple number 8 here on the outside of RJ Williams. Trevor Edwards now moving forward through the field, pulls up on the back end of Josh Parrish. Parrish has gone the wrong direction since the green flag dropped. Started this heat race in 5th, was as high as 3rd at one point, and now runs 6th.
Fact is, he's still in the race, though. He's still in for a transfer spot, running in the 6th position. He's got the ability to keep moving forward. He just needs to keep his head down and focus as we continue to roll on through this heat race. about to be 10 laps in, 9 completed. As RJ Williams almost collects the wall back there coming off of turn number 4. Everyone seems to be getting single filed out now as Ashby still leads the way. 4/10 over Mueller and Rolf about another 4/10 behind. Well, I say that, Parrish tapped the curb and Edwards is going to take a look to the inside. Can't get there.
Edwards is looking, though, he'd like to go by and get himself a bit of a cushion and start to move through the starting order of the race if he can. Remember, this heat race is not just to put these guys in the show, it's also to set the order of where they're going to start. So these 4 heat races, very important, not just to get these drivers into the race a week from today, but also to set the order of where they're going to start that 200-lap feature event. So important to move through the field if you can. Don't risk not making the race to do it, but if you can move anywhere through this field, you've got to try, and Trevor Edwards is certainly trying.
That he is. Taking any opportunity he can, but no moves being made as cross flags are in the air. We've just passed halfway, not a lap to go. Still single file racing throughout this 10-car field. This is race number 2.
I think what's lost on a lot of people in these sort of heat races, Zach, is that every position that you see on the racetrack is technically 4 positions in the starting order.
You're right. Oh my goodness, I completely forgot about that.
So Edwards is currently racing to start in the, let's see, he would be starting 26th as of now. He's racing to start 22nd if he can pass the 55 car. That is a huge difference, 22nd to 26th. And maybe it doesn't sound like a whole lot because you're already outside of the top 20, but those 4 positions, especially at the start of a Martinsville race, that's going to make a difference. Track position is everything.
That it is, especially a track like Martinsville. Short tracks, the track position, you need as much of it as you possibly can. There's no other way to put it. As Trevor Edwards continues to stare down the back bumper of Josh Parrish with only 7 laps to go. 8 actually, count them. 8 laps to go in heat race number 2. The leaders are extending their leads at the moment. Ashby now 7/10 over that 78 of Mueller. And Rolf has actually closed in a little bit for that second spot as we continue to ride on board with Trevor Edwards. This is actually one thing I didn't expect to see. Trevor Edwards has been one of the most competitive cars in this entire season, really. He has been up front most races, at least up inside the top 10 most days. Parrish taps the curb a little bit. So to see him fighting a little bit further back with some of the drivers he's usually quicker than is still a shock to me.
Well, he's 5th in points, right? 5th in the standings, and is down here racing just to barely make the field. Definitely a bit of a shocking day for him, I think, and not what he's going to want to be leaving this place with for a week in between heat racing and the feature race, knowing that he might start in the back of this one, considering laps are dwindling away. He's got to try and get by Parrish. And frankly, if we get down to it, I know bumpers are frowned upon, but if you can do anything leading up to using a bumper, anything but using a bumper here to get by Parrish, any kind of send you can come up with, you might have to do it just to get those couple of spots. I mean, if you can. If you can do so without wrecking the guy and yourself, you've got to try and send it. At the same time, you got to be careful, of course, not to get yourself a penalty, not to wreck yourself or wreck the driver you're racing. That would just open up a whole can of worms.
Not to mention throw you to the back.
And potentially out of the race. Oh, that was an opening, though. Here comes Trevor Edwards to the inside. No, Parrish got the wall.
I think Edwards is realizing that he's in a good spot. He doesn't really have to worry. So it's
maybe, and I'm of the idea that you want to go and get all the track position you can, but these drivers might be realizing as well, hey, it is 200 laps when you go racing in a week. next Thursday. It is 200 laps. So there is time to get through the field. I think Edwards relaxing now as the white flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. Trevor Edwards, one more shot to try and get by that 55 car. Meanwhile, everything is Jeremy Ashby out front. He will lead wire to wire and go to heat race victory lane over Tyler Mueller, Matt Rolfe, Justin Crowe, Chase Robertson, Josh Parrish, and Trevor Edwards, who takes the final transfer position. That leaves Keith Jeffrey, John Owlett, and RJ Williams out of the show. Now, there will be 2 provisional starting positions. I suspect RJ Williams may be one of them, but for right now, he is out of the show, not transferring in by heat races. Let's take a look at your Heat 3 starting grid. On pole, Dante Curtis, 3rd fastest qualifier this evening in time trials. He'll start to the left side of Kyle Turzak. Starting 3rd and 4th, it's Cole Cabry and Kyle Meyer. You know, we were worried about Cole Cabry's qualifying position there for a while. It's still going to be a solid starting spot. He rolls off 3rd. Dallas Pataska rolls off 5th.
Rolling off 6th, it's going to be Grant Brown to round out row number 3, and then Nim Cross and Steven Hassett in the 7th and 8th starting spots. And then to round out your 10-car field for heat race number 3, it's going to be Devin Rogers and Jonathan Smith. And I'm sure Jonathan Smith is looking to try and rally back from his incident in qualifying that ended up giving him right front damage. We still don't really know how that happened for him, but in any case, Jonathan Smith ready to put that car 3 positions up and into a transfer spot.
There you see Jonathan Smith in the 72. All that damage in qualifying holding it back. Going to give it a shot here now in the heat race. Dante Curtis going to lead us to the green. One more time through your Whiplash Simcams race details. There's 4 of these 25-lap heats, so if you're just joining us, welcome to Heat 3. The top 7 will advance. Green flag laps will count, but only green flag laps will count. 2 green-white checkers are available if needed. We've only seen 1 caution so far through 2 heat races. Open setups, no fast fixes, you're on your own. Down to turns 3 and 4, it's Dante Curtis and Kyle Turzak on the front row here. And out of the final corner into the Geico restart zone, we are green from Martinsville for Heat 3. Here comes Cole Cabry, right to the inside of Kyle Turzak. Cabry is one of the few drivers this season not named Alex McCullum to win a race. I suspect he's going to be on his best effort here, and there you go, already right to 2nd place in this heat. He's going to be doing everything he can to move forward.
Look back through the rest of the field. Nim Cross currently in the transfer position right now. He's going to be doing everything in his power to hang on to that spot. He's got cars fighting behind him. That's Rogers and Hassett fighting it out side by side to see who can get up there and fight with Nim Cross for that transfer spot. But as of right now, that 07 iRacing.com late model stock car is holding on to that transfer spot. He's looking to move forward to defend and secure that position.
Nim Cross currently in the show would start 27th. Steven Hassett, Devin Rogers right behind. They fight for 8th and 9th. Rogers down low in the 25 car. Hassett up top in the 3. Jonathan Smith has a great front row seat to this fight, but they will get single file now, and Smith pulls up to the outside of Devin Rogers. And now the entire field gets single file. All 10 cars here in heat number 1, or 3. Heat 1, oh man. I don't know where I was going with that one. Heat 3.
I'm not sure where you're going with that one either. I got a little confused there myself.
Yeah, it's been a long, long week.
I'm sure it has. We've had a lot of great races here on Pit Stop TV that have kept us quite busy. From Sunday with the Icon Cup Series, to Tuesday with BRB, and now here we are. Heat racing at Martinsville. On board with Cole Cabry chasing down Dante Curtis for the win in the heat as Curtis taps the wall a little bit. That's going to give an opening to Cabry, who's going to throw it into turn number 1. He's going to pull that car up alongside that 0-3. And they're going to race it side by side, drag racing down the back straightaway.
Cabry to the inside. This will be the first lead change of the heat race. As if he can get there across the stripe, it's still Curtis with the race lead by just a nose. But Cabry's got the inside and the better line to do it. He's going to nearly clear that 0-3 car down the backstretch and into turn 3. He's just about got him. Will he have him here off of turn 4? Not quite, but he's got the race lead.
Cole Cabry now out in front. He should clear for that lead going through turn number 1, 2. Yes, he does clear off of 2. Goes all the way to the bottom to defend against the crossover. And that's going to force Dante Curtis to run a high line. And that's going to open for Kyle Turzak to try and poke his nose in there. He had it up on the quarter panel. Curtis still alongside on the outside line. He doesn't want to keep giving up time, though, because Turzak just keeps poking his nose in there.
Turzak tried to get there. Curtis now staggers to the inside and looks on that 54 car of Cole Cabry. Has nothing for him, so it's Cabry, Curtis. Whoa, Cabry way out there. Here comes Curtis to the inside.
Big lunge to the inside line, side by side for the race lead. Cabry with a big run, but he slides off of turn number 2. They're still side by side down the back straightaway. Cabry now clearing away for that race lead. They're back to single file racing. The top 4, you can throw a blanket under them now. Heck, you can call it the top 6. As you've got Grant Brown and Tasca there in the 23, trying to find a way to move forward as well. It looks like everyone gets calm, cool, and collected into single file racing as cross flags are in the air.
Halfway down, halfway to go in heat number 3. Cabry taking the lead away makes our first lead change of the night. Over Dante Curtis and Kyle Turzak. Kyle Meyer in the 4th spot, then Grant Brown 5th. Dallas Pataska 6th. Nim Cross hangs on to 7th, but here comes Turzak to the inside. Was there for a moment on the 0-3 car, but then falls back. Nim Cross starting to have some challenge here from Stephen Hassett.
Just 10 laps to go as we cross the line, and Hassett is now looking on, saying that he has a shot at a transfer spot to make it in. Nim Cross trying to hang on to that race car now. But look at the closing rate on Hassett. He gets a big bobble out of turn number 2, though. That's going to allow Nim Cross to pull away into turn number 3. But entry speed from that 3 car is insane with how much he's touching the 0-7.
Jonathan Smith has all but fallen back out of this group. He unfortunately is now 4 seconds and change behind the race leader. It's not his day at the racetrack, apparently, as Stephen Hassett continues to work over the back bumper of Nim Cross. He'll look to the inside here in turn 1. Nothing of it. Thanks for tuning in here this evening as Stephen Hassett goes to work here at Nim Cross. I want to invite you all to follow along on social media. PitStopTV.com, Facebook /PitStopTV, Instagram /Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch would be at Pit_Stop_TV. Of course, if you're watching here, you found us on one of these platforms. YouTube at PitStopTV1, and over on X at PitStopTV_. 6 laps to go here in heat number 3. Zach, do you think Hassett makes a move?
He's gotta find a way to put his car in position to make it into the race, and we haven't seen it really all race. I think the bump and run is coming at some point. We've got 5 laps to go in this amazing heat race so far. You got to find that fine line, Andrew. You got to say to yourself, when is the time that I want to get up in gear and when I want to go? Because Hassett could make the move now and be well and clear and try to drive away, or he could wait until the end when Nim Cross has the least amount of time to defend from the move. There's a lot of ample opportunity. The matter is you just need to be there to make it happen.
Well, he's there. And, whoa, slips up there a little bit. The Matt Julius C speed shot number 3 gets the wall here to turn 1. So falling back a little. 3 laps to go that time by. Looking for something here at the end. And he's going to pull to the inside out into turn 3. Just about gets there, locks up on the curbing. And that's going to pull him back. Maybe far enough to keep Nim Cross in the race. 2 laps to go.
It just might.
3 is faster. He's pulling back up.
Pulling back up is one thing. Passing is another. Into 3 and 4 now. The leaders are taking the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcam, but the fight and the focus is on that transfer position. As these drivers continue to fight it out, Nick Cross is still hanging on, Andrew.
Down to turns 3 and 4. One more opportunity for Stephen Hassett. Can he get there? The answer is no. Out of turn 4, it's Cole Cabry to the line to win Heat 3. Nim Cross will take a transfer spot over Stephen Hassett, Devin Rogers, and Jonathan Smith. How about that? Nim Cross is in the feature next week. A solid run there from driver 07. Now we're going to have 9 cars for heat number 4. The final heat race on the day, headed to the grid. Joel Smith will lead us to the green flag. Blake Thronberg from 2nd spot. Starting 3rd, it'll be Chris Horton. He had a do-over in qualifying, and boy, did it work out. He will start from the top half of the field alongside Cody Dempster. Starting 5th place, it'll be Cameron Hamilton.
Starting in 6th spot right outside is going to be Spencer Dickinson. That's going to be row number 3. Row number 4 on the night, that's going to be Dylan Calabro and Brad Carpenter. And then row number 5 in the 9th starting spot, the last car on the grid, that's going to be Bob Belshaw in the 44. So we've got one less car in this race compared to the others, but with all due respect, we've had 9 cars already. We had 9 cars in Heat 1. So this is nothing new here for this final heat race of the night. The only thing that's different, the cars that are in the race.
Before we go green this evening, let's take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. Next up on the list, we go racing Sunday evening from Bristol Motor Speedway for the Icon Cup Series at September 22nd at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, we head out to Talladega Superspeedway. That'll be for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, September the 24th. Both of these series are in their respective chase, playoffs, whatever you want to call them. It's the playoffs for the Icon Cup Series, the chase for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. You've got to tune in and learn more about these series on Sunday and Tuesday with us here at Pit Stop TV. Thursday, there you see, we're going racing under the lights here at Martinsville Speedway for the RJ21 Management Martinsville 300. One more time, let's drop the green flag from Martinsville Speedway out of turn number 4. Green flag back in the air. Chris Horton, Blake Thronberg, they do some battle off the corner, a little bit of contact out of turn 2. But down around the transfer. I'm sorry, Zach. Down around the transfer. Here you go. Dylan Calabro in the final spot.
Look at Calabro. He took a look down to the inside of Spencer Dickinson going into turn number 1. Horton's making contact with Thronberg for the 2nd spot on the racetrack right now. So there's a lot of fighting going on in this, in this final heat. And Spencer Dickinson continues to hang on the outside line. Calabro in the final transfer spot, but he wants to put that car in a better position. Fighting for starting spots as Carpenter is now looking to take the spot away. Big wiggle out of Calabro. Carpenter looking low. Not going to make anything happen just yet. So the fight still continues between Hamilton and Dickinson. And Horton and Thronberg have swapped spots. Thronberg on the inside and Horton on the top, and they were in the wall not too long ago, coming off of turn number 4.
Cody Dempster in that fight as well. Dempster pulls to the inside as Brad Carpenter took a look on Dylan Calabro into turn 3. You can't waste time, in my opinion. It's easy to settle in here You cannot waste time at Martinsville Speedway. You've got to take advantage of whatever position you've got now. You know the field is just going to spread out over the course of this heat race as Cameron Hamilton is still on the inside of Spencer Dickinson. That's the only side-by-side battle left on the racetrack. Everybody else has spread out. As I said, you're going to spread out quick here at Martinsville.
That you will. You can get very, very tricky here at Martinsville as they continue to fight on. Hamilton and Dickinson. This is really holding up Calabro. I don't think he wants to see this because this can hold him up and let Carpenter come into play. As Carpenter has pulled up just a little bit. A little bit of slide out of the Belshaw back there in the last spot. But Calabro is just hoping that these guys sort this out now so they can start moving forward and pull away from Carpenter, who's only a couple tenths back. And look at Calabro. He's to the inside of Spencer Dickinson. Dickinson's going to hang on, but he's still on the outside of Cameron Hamilton, so that leaves a line open. Not able to shut the door, and Calabro continues to put that car to the inside line.
Calabro tries again there on the inside of turn 3. Bob Belshaw, the one car kind of falling back of all of this. So the battle for the transfer is Dylan Calabro and Brad Carpenter as Calabro works to the inside of Dickinson down the backstretch.
Here comes Carpenter. He is saying, keep on fighting, keep it up, because I'm closing in. He's closed up to a couple of tenths now. 2 tenths back as Calabro looks to the inside, almost turns Spencer Dickinson, who swaps hands with him. That puts Calabro to the outside line. That's going to put him on defense mode. Big slide off of turn number 2. Carpenter now on that back bumper, looking to see if he can put that car into the show for the big money. Trying to work his way around. He's not going to be able to get there just yet, but he's still got time, Andrew. There's still a lot of time left in this race, and if I'm Calabro, I would not be fighting as he's in the wall.
Calabro with a couple of slip-ups. Think the pressure is starting to get to the Yacht Club Soda 71. Gotta stay cool under the collar here at Martinsville. There's so many things you've got to be in order to be successful at this racetrack, and cool under the collar is one of them. Quick to react is another. Seeing that out of both drivers as I think it's cooling down now for the 71. Calabro starting to relax and settle in. A little bit of a gap back to the 31 car.
Trying to hold on to that final transfer spot. Dylan Calabro. We ride on board now with Brad Carpenter in that 31 car. He's looking to continue his push through this field and put his car in the show next week for the Martinsville 300 here with the 1-8 Coffee Media Tour. Oh my goodness. You've said it so many different times, Andrew. You've slipped up on how the presentation is, and now I'm slipping up on it too. You're throwing it over my way.
Well, it was the 1-8 Coffee Company National Tour when the season started. It's become the 1-8 Racing Media National Tour. 1-8, a fantastic partner, staying on board with us all season. But their push lately has been their Racing Media group. And you can check out 1-8 Racing Media on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram for everything they have to offer. A fantastic group led by Tyler Payne. A lot of great work coming out of their stables as Dylan Calabro continues to hang on to 7th spot. Now up front. Oh, here we go. Joel Smith has got some trouble. It's the 22 of Blake Thronberg. Contact out in turn 1.
I was watching the ticker to see if Blake Thronberg was going to catch that 24 car, and that he did. He was only about 2 tenths back a few laps ago, and now they're side by side for the lead. Horton looking to the inside. Now Joel Smith, 2 cars inside, but they're still
we're gonna go
wide.
3.
Gonna get 3 wide into the corner. Thronberg covers him off.
Horton looked there, wanted to make it 3 wide, but stays out of it as Thronberg takes over the race lead here at Martinsville Speedway.
Big defense from the 22 car for that race lead, and now Joel Smith trying to see if he can hang on to that top line, if he can keep that car up there in the 2nd spot, maybe get back to the race lead, and Thronberg is going to clear.
Here we
He's
go.
going to come down, cover off. Joel Smith to the inside. He's going to throw that car in there. Oh, it doesn't look like he's going to get there for the race lead. Thronberg with a good run, but he's sideways off the corner. Horton now looking to the inside of the 24. He's going to leave the lane open for Horton to take a look down there and put that car into the second spot, but he's not completely clear of Joel Smith.
Joel Smith now falling back on the outside of Chris Horton. He led most of this race and has been swallowed up by the competition. Chris Horton to the inside. Here comes Cody Dempster now as well, the other 24 car in the field. He's going to look to try and get by this 24 of Joel Smith. Joel was really good in qualifying, qualified 4th. But in the heat race, maybe learning a little bit about what he needs for next Thursday. Might need a little more long run pace because this car is falling off. Oh, and that's on the outside of Horton. That's going to be a crash down the backstretch. And Horton goes from 2nd to out of the race.
That's going to put Horton out of the Martinsville 300 for next week. That's going to promote Carpenter in. And Belshaw might have a shot now as we look on from the replay. Look at Horton. Not too much damage on that race car, though.
He caught Carpenter.
Carpenter gave him a little bit of a lick going into 3.
Watch here. It looks like Horton tried to get up right on the door of the 42 or 24. Might have even thought he was clear. Wasn't quite clear. And then, yeah, Carpenter just grabs a piece of the 42 driving by. Nothing too crazy. I think he's going to be okay. But Horton, from in the race to out of the race, and I wonder how that's going to be treated by race control. I don't think either driver's at fault. I think that was just a mistake on both drivers' parts. I think, anyways. I'd have to go back at it again. We're not going to, but maybe I'll take it back for Joel Smith, because it looked like at first, Zach, that maybe he came off the wall by an inch, which is just racing, and that Horton was coming up and trying to get clear, which is just racing. I mean, it's a matter of inches.
Well, the thing to me is it looked like there was an initial catch, that when Horton first made contact, that Joel and Horton both realized that they were making contact, and I think they both made an attempt to try and stay off of each other, and it still ended up going the wrong way for Chris Horton, which is a great thing, heads up by both those drivers. But now you've got Chris Horton in the pit lane, potentially out of the Martinsville 300. This could affect everything for him, because he is, I believe he's in the top 10 in points, isn't he?
No, Chris Horton is not.
Well, I can say for certain that he has been one of the more competitive cars that we've seen throughout the season so far, and now this opens up a world of possibilities, because Calabro is now promoted to 6th. He's going to choose the bottom, or not. They don't have a choose cone, Andrew.
Well, we're going to line up
in the back there.
Yeah, they're trying to find their place in line. I'm not really sure what's going on between them, but Brad Carpenter now, the final car in, and lined up to start 28th, as it looks like Chris Horton will just get back on the racetrack here. He's got a chance. It's going to take a lot of work with a damaged race car, but he's got a chance still to make the Martinsville 300. This time out of turn number 4, we're going to go back racing at Martinsville Speedway. Green flag back out in the air. 3 laps to go.
Horton's already making moves in the back. He's going around the outside of Belshaw to take a spot away, but he can't get it done as the fight for the lead.
Oh, Smith!
Contact!
Smith tags Blake Thronberg, sends him up the racetrack a little bit. In the background, nothing changing for the transfer. 2 laps to go.
Side by side for the race lead. Now Cody Dempster in position to try and see if he can take away the heat race win. He's sitting behind Joel Smith, who has just disappeared on our screens. And there he is. Oh, that's not what you want to see. Coming to the white flag presented by Whiplash Media in the air. Barney the flagman waving it for Joel Smith. He's trying to hang on. Dempster now on the back bumper. The fight for the transfer spot. Horton has made it by Belshaw. Can he get around Carpenter?
The answer is no. He's too far back. Joel Smith is just going to hang on for the heat race win. And wow, what a race. Chris Horton is out. Brad Carpenter is in. It's Smith, Thronberg, Dempster, Hamilton, Calabro, Dickinson, then Carpenter. down in 7th spot. He's going to hang on to a starting position, and that is going to be it for us. You see, we're technically going to roll into a warm-up session, but that is it from the Martinsville Speedway. What a day of racing. It all came down right to the wire for those drivers. Brad Carpenter out. Unbelievable. Or sorry, in, rather. Chris Horton out. Unbelievable.
What a shock turn of events at Martinsville here tonight. Didn't expect to see Chris Horton out of the race. It's really shocking, to be perfectly honest, but still, what a night for these guys.
Well, thanks for watching along with us here at Martinsville Speedway, the virtual Martinsville Speedway, that is. It has been a pleasure. Also, how about the fact that Ryan Kuhn is the one driver to take to the racetrack right now in this warm-up session? A few extra laps before the night is done. We don't have the race tonight. The race is next week, September the 26th. We can take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV to see that. So plenty of time before we go racing, but boy, what a night of qualifying and heat racing all the way through. 2 hours of really good content, really good fun here with the Southeast. The Sim Auto Racing Association. It's been a long day. I tell you what, Zach, my day started at 9 a.m. Technically about 8 a.m., but 9 a.m. And boy, we're working now 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. It has been a long day for me anyway, but yeah, September 26th, we'll go racing for the 1-8 Racing Media National Tour here at the virtual Martinsville Speedway. You do not want to miss this 200-lap affair. It's going to be a lot of fun, Zach.
I'm sure it is. So many great places to follow along with these drivers and how things are going to go into next week. PitStopTV.com, Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, YouTube.com/PitStopTV1, and X.com/PitStopTV_. So much great racing action coming up here on Pit Stop TV. You would be amiss to be missing this action.
And one more time, let's revisit that season schedule. That to be confirmed date, race number 11, will be going to Myrtle Beach Speedway. The date yet to be released. More will be posted by Matt Rolfe and series admins on the Sim Auto Racing Association Facebook page, so watch out for that. We'll be going to Myrtle Beach in October for the 11th round of the 1-8 Racing Media National Tour. So much fun yet to be had, and we could also talk about those point standings, Zach. You check in here with Alex McCullum on top of the series. Cole Cabry second, Ryan Kuhn third, Jacob Harbert's fourth. He's not here. He was not here at all through qualifying and heat racing, so he's going to drop further back. Trevor Edwards there in the 5th spot. Interesting. It's interesting how this all worked out. Edwards is going to start from the very back. Cole Cabry ended up winning his heat, so he will start from 3rd spot. Alex McCullum will start from 1st. They were teammates. Matt Rolfe had a decent night. Aaron Johnson wasn't here. Josh Parrish will race next week. Spencer Dickinson will race. Blake Thronberg was a lot of fun to watch. He'll start towards the front. So a lot of drivers to watch out for.
Absolutely, but big driver to watch out for. Alex McCullum dominated the heat race, dominated qualifying. There's no stopping this man. Late model stock car, super late model, legend car, whatever it is, you name it. This man is 100% all in with everything that he does on the iRacing sim. So watch out for him come next week, Andrew, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch along with.
That it is. Well, we'll close things down for us here at the Martinsville Speedway. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this amazing night of action. We've still got a night to go, and boy, is it going to be fun when we come right back to Martinsville in a week's time right before the real Valley Star Credit Union 300, the Martinsville 300 at Martinsville Speedway, right before we go racing. I'll be at that event. If you're there, come say hi. I'll be working, but come say hi anyway. Should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get this thing going. Zach, I really, part of me wishes we were about to go racing for the 200 lap race. Part of me does. The other, most of me, is glad that we've got a week to hype this thing up, a week to be prepared, and go racing in a week's time. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really am looking forward to it. If you had to pick a driver right now to win the race, who would it be?
Alex McCullum.
if you had to pick another driver to win the race, who would it be?
If I had to pick another driver, honestly, I'm going to take a shot out of left field. Blake Thronberg. He impressed me in the heat.
That's fair. I can't argue with that pick. I think I might have to look. My way would be, oh man, I think I'm going to say Cole Cabrey. He's got to win already this season, starting from third. He's up in the front, won his heat race by force. I would have to look Cole Cabrey's direction, but who knows? We'll find out in a week. Make sure to tune in here at Pit Stop TV. For now, though, thanks to all the partners with the series: 1-8 Coffee Company, Pedley's Garage, Pierce Fleet Service, Race 1 Wraps, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, Sim Wrap Market, Souza Media, Studio 10 Wraps, Toxic Media Solutions, and of course, Boyd's Automotive, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, DriverTees.com, Fast AF Designs, Hides Pride Leather and Sheepskin, International Short Track Association, Jeff By Jr. Art, Justin Brooks Designs, and Matthews Designs. And a big shout out to the partners here with Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design. Zach, thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure as always. Any more final thoughts before we go racing?
Bring it on next week. Bring it on and bring it on fast, because I want to see these guys take to the racetrack.
Should be a lot of fun in a week. September the 26th when we go racing for the Martinsville 300, brought to you by RJ Williams Management, RJW21 Management, Martinsville 300. Gonna be a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you all next time. You've got to tune in for this thing in a week's time. We'll see you there.